go Mets.
Yeah, the Mets did.
We're 1-0.
I can't say I was shocked. Apparently, the Mets just win every opening day since the beginning of time.
So not counting 2 years ago, because remember they like canceled the day we were gonna go and then like rescheduled it. Besides that, I've been going to opening day for maybe like 8 out of the last 10 opening days, and they've always win.
I know, like the stats say that the Mets are the most likely to win opening day, like in baseball. But I was saying too, like I had only gone to opening day two times in a row, and the only reason I was able to go the first time was because what you said.
Rescheduled it.
It got canceled because the lights weren't on. I don't know, something.
And then there was like a hurricane or something one year.
Yeah. And then last year I was able to go because it started at 4.
Yeah.
So I was able to like run right from work. Yeah. But this year I couldn't do it. So, but
for those people who have just corporate jobs, they could just get out of work. So that's what I did, and I went to the game, and it was great. But I have a funny story about the game because I was planning on not going because I was in DC for work, and then the day before, my good friend was like, let's just buy tickets, whatever. Like, it's going to be so nice out because it's like a 70-degree day.
It was a gorgeous day.
And I was like, whatever. I was like, fine, let's look at tickets. And I saw that there was a $100 ticket in the section 100. And I was like, wow, like, that's crazy. Like, let's do those. And it comes up like row 16 WC. And I'm like, I don't know what WC means. And we're like, me and her are going back and forth. Yeah, I bought them.
Before knowing what they meant.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm like, what does WC mean? And then, like, I was looking it up, and I'm like, what does WC mean? And it was like water closet. Because, you know, when you go to a bathroom, it's like WC. I'm like, what?
All the possible
apparently
things.
Water closet is like in Europe. Like, that's what they call bathrooms.
And every now and then you'll see one in the city, like.
So then we're on our way, and my friend's like, I think it means wheelchair. Like, I asked someone, they're like, that means wheelchair. And I'm like, no. And we were in the wheelchair section. You know, like in the back, like how they have like the regular seats, and then they have like spaces where you could put a wheelchair, like if you were with a companion.
Correct. So when you first walked there, was it just an empty space, or was there like a fold-up chair ready for you?
There was a fold-up chair next to us that someone was in, but we were in actual seats. So we were like the companion of someone who is in a wheelchair.
God, I just wonder what would happen. Like, I'm just surprised you were able to purchase them without a note coming up saying,
that is what
like...
I said. I was like, what if we get there and they're like, where's your wheelchair? And we're like, we had a miraculous recovery today. We can walk. But when I look on the tickets, it's like somebody's annual pass, because it says like quarter annual pass holder. So maybe those people
maybe they just resold it. They're like, we're not going today.
And the person next to us bought their third party, like through a third party. And then the person on the other side of us were like, no, we purchased these tickets. And he was like in a folding chair. And
he needed it.
Yeah. And it was like, no, I don't know.
Oh, no.
I wasn't going to like ask him.
Right.
And but it was like he bought it for like his cousin bought it for his 30th birthday, and they were here from like Long Island, whatever. So then they ended up like leaving like the inning before, like the 9th inning or something. They left, or like the 8th inning.
Okay.
And Meg's like, I'm gonna test the seat out. Meg said it's
cozy,
so comfortable,
very cushiony. I see them. I've checked, I've clocked them out.
So if you see WC on your seat, it means wheelchair section. But they treat you pretty nice because there's like in a chained area, you know. So the lady has to unchain you to get in.
Okay, this is what my theory is that if you tried to buy it directly from like Citi Field, like the Mets, they'd have to be like, listen, you got to show us that you deserve this. But because you bought it from a third party, it shows that maybe the person who does usually use it just sold it to you for that game.
I really hope I didn't take somebody who needed it. I was in a regular seat, granted.
That's true.
Know, but it did feel really awkward. But I really didn't know what WC means.
No, that's fair. But now that you do know, would you purchase
those seats were great. You don't have to stand up because everyone who stands up is so lower than you.
Yeah.
Like, you just... Sorry, guys. All right, we're back. Our sound went off.
So you were saying something about, I don't know. Maybe that's cute. Maybe we've let this go on for too long.
Yeah. What I was going to say was the seats are really good because the people who stand in front of you, because it's a wheelchair section, they have to be lower for like eye level. So like you don't have to stand up and cheer. Like you could see everything.
Oh, even if everyone else is standing up.
Yeah, you could sit.
So it really is for someone in a wheelchair who can't just get up.
They did it correctly.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's it.
It's better than the Mets.
Hi everyone, I'm Melanie.
And I'm Diana.
And we're two queens in a pod.
Cast, and we are two queens from Queens, giving you the queen's perspective, no matter what we do, no matter where we go. And today, we're bringing you to the great Carnegie Hall.
Most impressive music hall in the world.
Allegedly. I think it checks out.
Yeah, I mean, people say to this day that it is. So.
Yeah, like musicians are like, I love playing there. I don't sound better. Nowhere do I sound better than Carnegie Hall.
I sound better. Yeah. Did you know, like, one of their quotes was, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? And they're like, practice.
Yeah.
And imagine a person's like, can you just tell me the street?
And do you know where that comes from, the origins?
No.
So in 1950, this
was
guy,
like a tourist being like, where is it?
Joska Heifetz, who's a violinist, was just like walking in the street. And some random tourist went up to him, and he was like, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? And his response was practice. Instead of actually giving the directions.
That would be so annoying.
And then look at that. He probably was like, that was really funny. And then he like told everyone the joke.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
let's get into the beginning.
So I'm going to give a little intro about Carnegie Hall and how it was created, and then we can do a little deep dive into it. Okay, so how this kind of started was Andrew Carnegie, also more properly known as Carnegie. That's how you say his last name.
That is technically how you would say it if you were from Scotland.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he was from Scotland.
Yes.
So he, at the end of his life, gave away almost all of his money. Like, that was like his thing, was like, I'm gonna give back all of this money to like institutions and libraries. And he met this guy, Walter DeRoche, and he was a conductor. Walter was a conductor, and he wanted a proper home for the New York Symphony Society, so that they could perform in New York City.
Is that the Philharmonic?
It will eventually be the Philharmonic.
Okay, gotcha.
So he meets Andrew Carney, and he kind of tells him his little stick of like what he wants, and he was like, "Cool, yeah, that sounds like a plan. Like let's build this music hall." So in late 1880s, where this music hall or Carnegie Hall is located now is 57th and 7th. But back in the day, Midtown Manhattan was like 14th Street.
Yeah, like Union Square.
Yeah, so above that area, all the way uptown where Central Park is, was just like livestock, like lower class society. Yeah, like just like slaughterhouses.
And this area specifically was like Hogstown.
It was called Hogtown because there was pigs everywhere.
Because so much garbage was left out, right? That pigs would eat it up.
So, I mean, we went on a tour, and that's what the tour guide said. But I think like also there was like that was like where the slaughterhouses were. But the pigs did eat the trash back in the day.
Got it.
And then
who needs sanitation?
I know, but I was thinking about that. Back in the day, your trash was mostly, it wasn't like paper towel, you know, like it wasn't plastic. It wasn't like things that can't get.
It was all biodegradable.
Down.
It was all biodegradable stuff.
So like the pigs were just eating like the scraps of food.
Leftovers.
Yeah.
Actually makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
What else would you have done?
Okay, so their location for the Carnegie Hall was or the music hall was gonna be in Hogtown, and everyone was like, "You're crazy. Why are you putting it there? Like, that's absolutely wild." And he was like, his vision was, he always was thinking ahead, which I kind of want to talk about because I went on a rabbit hole of Andrew Carnegie and like his lifestyle.
I looked up some of his stuff too.
But he was always thinking in the future. Like, he was never thinking of the present. He was always thinking about like what is to come, and he always envisioned that New York was going to expand, and obviously it did. His payoff happened, and it expanded. Yeah.
In some ways, like he building Carnegie Hall decentralized or re-centralized the city to where it is now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, if it was built anywhere else, that would have become the middle of Manhattan in some ways. You know?
think so?
I think so.
That's putting a lot of cred on this music hall.
I mean, it was a big deal.
I think just a lot of things were happening at this time. I mean, we just did Grand Central, and that was like this time period. You know, like a lot of things were being built that made Midtown.
Well, another thing too, though, that was happening around this time in New York City between like the 1880s and the 1890s is New York wasn't just being like this business mecca anymore. It was becoming also this cultural mecca as well, where it's like, this isn't just about money making. This is about art and becoming this like artistic city that we are today. And so this was sort of this perfect way of starting that and being like, okay, yeah, we're making this cultural center, you know?
Right. It was gentrification before, like, he was kind of gentrifying that neighborhood.
Yeah, taking it away from the hogs. That's
yes,
true.
He took it away from the pigs.
I bet you they're still pissed at him
They're
about
still pissed
that.
about it. Okay, so construction began in 1889. The hall officially opened in 1891. But a really interesting fact was it was designed by William Burnett Tuthill.
Tuthill. Yeah.
And this guy was pretty much not known as an architect. Like, he only had like a couple of things under his like
he had
criteria.
done like a couple of buildings.
Yeah.
And he was like an amateur cellist.
But he was an amateur cellist, which they think is like the reason why this has such good acoustics is because he was thinking as a musician over an architect. But there was something that I read about how Carnegie sent him to Europe and was like, go to the most expensive music halls in the world and like learn as much as you can. And he literally did like everything opposite of what he saw. Like, he's like, I'm going to not do a square. I'm going to do a circle. I'm going to do the, you
right.
know.
Like, instead of following the protocol that has been set out before him, he was like, no, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Let's do it this way, which ended up making it the best music hall, arguably, in some ways.
Yeah.
Like, I was reading this thing, he's either the former director, he might still be the current director of Carnegie Hall. His name's Clive Gillinson, and he wrote, on the face of it, they did everything wrong for Carnegie Hall in the sense that, like, they didn't get the coolest architect. The architect didn't follow the rules of what, like,
it wasn't in the location it should have been.
Exactly. It wasn't in the location it should have been. Like, you know, like, you to your point about the actual architecture, usually when you have those, like, boxes, those box seatings
like
in the balcony.
In the balconies area, yeah.
Usually you have like full-on wall dividers in between each box to kind of give each group privacy.
Away with it, yeah.
He was like, that's going to ruin the music. That's going to ruin the acoustics. Let's open that all up, you know? So like that didn't exist. And, you know, he was like, why do they have chandeliers? That's not good for acoustics. So like there's one of the only music halls that didn't have a chandelier, like a grand chandelier on it. So I feel like I got to like this guy.
Yeah, you know what? Give a chance to people who are a little unknown, you know?
Yeah.
Don't
let them
need
shake things up a little bit.
The top names. But then they did need a top name because everything was riding on opening night.
And everyone coming.
So they ended up getting the biggest star of the
music scene,
which was Tchaikovsky. Did I say it right?
Tchaikovsky.
Okay, well, I need to say it in little syllables.
Tchaikovsky.
And he was a Russian, what would you call him? Like,
he's a composer.
He was a composer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he composed Swan Lake. He did a lot of ballets, things like that.
Goose Lake.
As Melody likes to call. I don't know if you guys remember from our Lincoln Center episode.
Yeah,
there was an opening scene and it looked like a goose.
attacking an animal.
I had a reminder it was a swan because we were watching Swan Lake, but yeah.
So they got him. They scored him.
And it's so funny to think of him like a classical composer as being like the hot ticket in town.
Right.
But that's what the music scene was.
So he was from Russia. He came to America to do this show. I think they said this was his only time that he came to America. And then he died like a year
18 months after.
A year later. But at this time, they had like his picture in the newspaper, and a picture in the newspaper at this time is like a sketch, you know. And they said that he was so annoyed because people would come up to him and ask him for autograph. How do you recognize somebody? I can't recognize people today in a picture. Like,
I had the same thing on my notes. I have like people running up to get autographs and a bunch of question marks. Like how
do you know it's him?
I guess like this was like the equivalent of a major superstar taking a boat, right, at this time, coming over here. This was
and
major.
I guess you weren't putting stuff under like aliases at this time. So like if he was coming on a boat, you could see that in like the what's it called, the itinerary? What's like the boat thing?
I would call that itinerary.
No, the boat that has the names on it. It's called something. The ledger, you know, like the ledger, they'd be like, oh, he's on that boat.
Yeah, or just like it was in the news. Everyone back then had a newspaper, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then they were like kind of scouting out in the area because they wanted to meet Tchaikovsky, you know?
I was saying how like, so he was like, you know, Russians have this motif of being like kind of standoffish or whatever. So I pictured him being like really mean, like, why are you coming up to me? And then I wrote down, he's like the modern day's chaperone. Did you hear the chaperone drama?
Oh, yes, I did.
About the little girl.
With the kid. Whose kid is it?
Jude Law.
Jude Law's kid.
How do you feel about it? Do you think that really happened or not?
freaking cares? HOTTOTO. I don't know.
I'm very much in the favor of like celebrity privacy. Like, you know, I would never go up to a celebrity unless I felt the energy of the welcoming, like, okay, anyone can come up to me, blah, blah, blah. But there's a certain, she's sitting there at breakfast, she's giving off an energy of, like, don't come up to me.
Apparently, the girl just, like, passed by the table and, like, ran back and didn't even say anything. And it's like, all right.
I don't know if that's true.
I mean, this is all hearsay. No one has, like, nowadays, like, it's funny that this news story is even circulating because I feel like nowadays, unless it's on camera, people don't really want to talk about it. Yeah. Even when it is on camera, people have discrepancies, which I think is crazy, you know?
Well, anyway, we'll going back to the story.
Chappell Roan, Tchaikovsky, same person.
He played it was a huge success. It was all over the newspapers how like praised the performance was.
Yeah, and did you hear Tchaikovsky was quoted in the newspaper as saying, "It is evident I really pleased the Americans."
Yeah, he was happy that he pleased the Americans.
And you know, I don't think he was only happy that he got pleased I don't think he was only happy that he pleased the Americans. I think he was happy how much this guy got paid to perform.
How much did he get paid?
Like one day. So in today's...
He only played one day? He didn't play like the weekend?
I don't think he played the full week. So what they did... behavior. Their opening performance was like a week-long celebration, and I think he was the headliner of one specific day. And just to perform for that one performance, in today's money, he was paid $86,000 in today's money for like one show.
All right. I feel like Beyonce got paid like $1 million to play in Dubai.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I think there was just like, I think there's more money now. Does that make sense? With inflation?
Sure.
But
you just told us that inflation was 86,000.
Yeah, with inflation.
Oh,
but I just feel like
you mean like
explain it.
No, you're saying money had more value back then. Not that there was more money now, but like money at that amount had more value.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like you're right.
It got you further. $86,000 got you further than $1 million today.
Right. Mm-hmm. Actually, I would take 86 too now. Like that's good for.
I mean,
for a day's work.
Yeah, I don't need $1 million.
I guess I'm
I
like broke people
impressed. I like to think of myself as Andrew Carnegie. Like I would give money away. Like I wouldn't need $1 million. I don't need a penthouse in New York City. You know, like I like my little apartment here in Astoria, and I could live like this for the rest of my life and be happy. You know?
Exactly. No, I feel like even if someone gave me like a lot of money, I would still live in this area. But it'd be nice to just know I squirreled it away. Like it's still there.
Yeah.
Just in
I
case
just wouldn't want
it.
to work. That's it. You know.
Well, there you go.
Just have the money so you don't work. But
yeah. But going back
I also want to contribute to society. It's a certain vicious cycle. You know?
It's not a problem we have to worry about.
Yeah. I'm not coming into any money anytime soon. So
I just love how I'm like really impressed how much this got paid. You're like, Beyonce got paid like $5 million in Dubai.
Just being honest.
No, you're right. I don't know. It's like weird. Mm-hmm. But regardless, we'll bring it back to Carnegie Hall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Carnegie Hall, and it was actually this opening performance with Tchaikovsky that really made New Yorkers think like, yeah, you know what? This could be the center of the city. Yeah. So just bringing it full circle to that whole idea of what was going on geographically in Manhattan.
I went down I was saying this before, I went down a really big rabbit hole of Andrew Carnegie, and I want to do a really, 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 really quick, like, summary of who this man was.
All right, give the elevator speech.
Okay, so he was born in Scotland. He immigrated here with his parents when he was 12 years old. And since he got here when he was 12, they moved to Pittsburgh, or like what would be Pittsburgh now. Yeah. And he automatically out of the bat was working. Like he started all these like little jobs. Like he was at the cotton mill. He did telegraph. And during this time, any job that he had, he would just absorb information and always he was just a very smart kid.
He was like a sponge
without needing education really because he never went to school.
Well, he didn't get past like middle school.
No, yeah,
or he may
12 years old, whatever
yeah.
your 12-year-old grading is.
Okay? Yeah, I would say around middle school.
Okay, so then what really changes for him is when he's 18 years old, he starts working for Thomas A. Scott, who was in the Pennsylvania Railroad Company.
And our tour guide brought this up, right?
Yeah.
That when he was working on the railroad, it was when they were changing it from being wooden tracks to steel tracks.
Mm-hmm. So this is how he got into like the steel biz, right? Is like he started working with Thomas A. Scott, who was pretty much his mentor, and got him into like all these different investments, and one of them was steel. But really changed for him was when they were building that big bridge, like Abe's Bridge. It's what is over the Mississippi River. So this was the only bridge that was crossing the Mississippi River at the time. This is in St. Louis.
Okay, so now we're in St. Louis.
Yeah.
So he moved from Pittsburgh. Now he's in St. Louis.
Now he's working on this bridge in St. Louis, and it was made entirely by steel, which was like unheard of at the time because steel was always used for like little things,
not major.
Not
things.
like not like bridges and railroad, and that's how it like kind of got into the railroad, whatever.
Right, and he's like,
yeah. So he starts making a lot of money because of this bridge and like his business in the.
But then he starts investing his own money into steel because he's like, oh, looks like this is where we're going.
I don't want to sidetrack this, but yesterday when they were playing the Pittsburgh Pirates, right? That's who it is. Every time the Pittsburgh like scored a home run or whatever, they would put like a steel guy's mask on, and my friend was like, "This is really creeping me out because like they would just put on the steel mask."
The players,
like, they're on the steel. They would he would hit a home run. They would go into the dugout. They would put the steel mask on him, and he would be like, "Yeah."
Oh, just on him. Okay.
Yeah, like the guy who won, like the OMG, But they
I got you. I was imagining every player putting on a mask and being like, that's really intense.
The one main guy who scored.
Yeah, I got you.
But they still to this day, 2026, are known for their steel. Like that's their big thing.
You know, in the U.S. World in the Baseball World Classic. Italy took an espresso shot anytime they got they got a home run.
I love those little culture
items.
So
cute. You gotta get more of those.
So he builds this bridge. Fun fact about the bridge is because no one trusted steel, everyone's like, what is this made out of? We're not gonna cross this bridge. He got an elephant to cross the bridge as a publicity stunt to show that because an elephant weighs it's a ton. So if the elephant can cross it, everybody can.
They did that for the Brooklyn Bridge too.
Did they? Maybe this is a nod to this.
Maybe they were like, "Oh, Carnegie worked for Carnegie. Let's do it here."
So imagine it became the standard. Every time you built a bridge, all right,
pass the elephant
test. All right, we're good. So something I want to mention to you, since you hate nepo babies. Okay.
That's why I love this guy. He came from rags to riches.
Well, hold on a second.
Oh, man. Okay? You're going to burst my bubble. When
Carnegie started making it big in a steel company,
he
hired his brother to be one of his...
That's okay.
And then he hired his cousin, and his cousin was the first woman to ever be a female telegraph operator in the country. So here's my thing to you.
I like it.
Nepotism obviously means that you are getting opportunities. But if this is an opportunity where it is the first female, barrier breaker, how can you be so against that?
Okay, what you just said doesn't upset me in the sense that,
But it is nepotism.
That's nepotism, but they're not nepo babies.
So if he had a baby and they worked there, but she was a female and she was the first steel... What about the woman who owns McSwirlies? That was a nepo baby.
Technically.
No, not technically. It was. You can't pick and choose when you're on the nepo baby spectrum.
I'm not totally against nepo babies and nepotism, but I do fear that we're in this time in society where unless it's it feels like royalty, the only way to get up. You find out all these artists that's so and so's daughter, that new artist or that new actor.
Why does it matter? Why does it matter? Just don't know that information. Don't dig into it.
Okay. There's times where I don't like the music, and that's why I don't like it.
Okay, then don't listen to it.
When Northwest performed I Just Can't Wait to Be King. Uh-huh. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw a little bit of it. I said I don't like it, and I turned it off.
Yeah,
I don't need to support it.
I take it a tiny step further. Okay, look, I take it a tiny step further, and I go, these damn nepo babies. That's it.
Okay, all right.
And then I let it go.
Okay, I'm just thinking how people supporting you and putting you in roles that are breaking barriers and showing representation to minorities is pretty.
That's cool. Yeah, bring your cousin, bring your brother, bring your kids, because they're shooting everyone over here.
But just to round off the Andrew Carnegie storyline, is he obviously got into the big steel biz,
and then he stole But not
stole?
He didn't stole. He
sold it to J.P. Morgan.
Yeah, to J.P. Morgan.
And made a ton of money and then gave all that money away.
Yeah.
That's literally what happened. Like, he made a ton of money by selling his steel company and then gave everything away. He gave equivalent of $2 billion away in the last 18 years of his life.
Oh, I got $5 billion.
All right. 5, you know,
whatever.
Billions and billion, you know.
Billions. Yeah. Billions of money.
Billions of dollars, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, obviously, he did the music hall. He also funded like 3,000 libraries. When we did our New York City Public Library.
I was going to say, he's on the public library, right? Like, the name, you know, like, he's
the
Carnegie's
satellite.
one of them, right?
Yeah, no.
Oh, who was the 3 people? I forgot.
It was Astor, John Jacob Astor, and then the Trust, and then...
The creator.
No, there was one other library.
Yeah, wasn't the person who, like, created it? Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh no, it was the name of a street. I hate when this happens.
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes it goes in my head and right after. What's the third library guy?
Maybe I have it.
Jaspers? No.
Jasper?
I just made something up. There's 2. It's a combination of the Astor Library.
Okay, Astor, Lenox.
There you go, Lenox. There
and
we go.
Tilden.
Tilden is the trust. That's the money
yeah.
man. Yeah. But going back to Carnegie and his affiliation with the New York Public Library is that after they made the first main location, he bought a bunch of properties all around Manhattan so that the New York Public Library could have more satellite locations. Mm-hmm. And so he funded the expansion of the New York Public Library by giving buildings for them to grow. So this guy was like all about making New York what it is today in like a way that not controversial. What he did was not controversial, I don't think, at least.
I think he's becoming my favorite Gilded Age character.
Would you even call him an impressive man? I know you don't throw that term out lightly.
I don't throw that lightly. But I do think he's an impressive man. So for what I've seen so far. So
far, yeah. I haven't looked up any of the bad stuff. But...
And it seems like he really listens to his wife because his wife had a really big hand in him being like, you should do the music hall, you know?
Yeah.
And she was very invested in the music hall.
Look, someone who respects the ladies. He brought his cousin in on a job.
That's why I like him. You know,
right.
Give him credit where credit's due to the ladies.
And I like him too because he's not a nepo baby. He did it all on his own.
He's definitely not a nepo baby.
He is a hardworking dude.
Yeah.
I like it.
So also in 1896, they created an additional tower to Carnegie Hall because they needed to fund the operating costs. So like they were coming up as a deficit. Like so they were like, how can we, like update these costs? So they built this tower that was pretty much like housing artist studios and apartments. People lived there.
Yeah, when the tour guide brought it up, and I kind of asked, like, was it just a place you were able to rehearse, or did some people stay there? And people did live there.
And people did live there. And one of the people that lived there was Leonard Bernstein, and he lived in one of the studios in this tower, and he wrote West Side Story about the gangs in San Juan Hill neighborhood. If you remember, you want to tell them about San Juan a little bit because we did it in Lincoln Center?
Yeah, so and this connects to Carnegie Hall as well.
It does, full circle moment.
Yeah, because this really did put things in, but wait, can I just...
Tell them what San Juan is, if they don't remember.
I wanted, so San Juan Hill, if you remember... Lincoln Center is where it is, but it was a very prominent Puerto Rican neighborhood, and Robert Moses came in, had this grand plan of displacing a bunch of Puerto Rican immigrants and replacing it with what is today their Lincoln Center. But this is kind of a full circle moment in the sense that the concept of Lincoln Center put Carnegie Hall at risk of dying. Yeah. But I do have a quick Leonard Bernstein moment. So in 1942, there's this guy named Bruno Walter, and he got sick. And he was like, I don't want to call him the Tchaikovsky of the time, but people were very excited to see this guy. This is like the reason people bought the tickets to go see this guy conduct the orchestra. And so he got sick, and they were like, all right, let's bring this no-name 25-year-old Leonard Bernstein up. And everyone was like booing. They're like, who is this guy? If you guys are aware of that movie that Bradley Cooper was in,
The Maestro.
This is all like it opens up with this whole scenario.
Is he Leonard Bernstein?
He plays Leonard Bernstein, yeah. And so this specific performance was being broadcasted on radio, and so this guy, he's the understudy. Bernstein starts going, and everyone was like,
wow.
Whoa, I like this guy. And overnight, because it was on a radio broadcast, he became like the next superstar. Yeah, but I love Bernstein.
Yeah, I find it interesting that he was in the studios writing about West Side Story that was about San Juan, that would be Lincoln Center, that would potentially close Carnegie. Like, it's just like so weird how everything is connected.
And it almost makes sense. Like, it makes sense that he would shed light on that area,
not knowing yet that what's gonna come.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of foreshadowing. Yeah.
So when
and
Lincoln
he's living
Center,
there.
So when Lincoln Center was created, the New York Philharmonic. Oh my God, why can't I say that? Philharmonic.
Yeah.
Was a resident at Carnegie Hall. Like, they would play, weekly, whatever it is when you have residency, right?
Yeah, the same, like, how the Mets play at Citi Field, the Philharmonic played at Carnegie Hall.
They moved to Lincoln Center, and since they moved in 1962, Carnegie Hall has never had a resident performance, or,
like a company that's like their home base.
Yeah.
But now they just have people come in all the time and perform. Yeah. But just to backtrack slightly a bit before the 1950s, when we were scared of it losing. Well, I feel like we should put a pin on that.
All right, pin on 1950s.
Yeah, so just a pin on 1950s. Legal procedures were completed. Purchase agreements were signed. There was an office tower that was designed. The demolition date was scheduled for Carnegie Hall. And can I just tell you, this red skyscraper that was going to replace it, very cool, very funky looking. I'm glad they didn't, but they should have put that building somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Look it up. It's very cool looking. I wish it existed somewhere else in the city, but whatever. This world-famous violinist, Isaac Stern, engineered a deal that ended up saving Carnegie Hall. And that's why, to this day, the main auditorium is called the Isaac Stern Auditorium. Yeah. But just to backtrack a little bit, I think these are some cool fun facts that occurred between the official opening and the 1950 almost demolition. The first African-American woman sang there in 1892.
Was that Patty?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I didn't write her name, but you might be right.
Yeah,
what do you have about Patty?
I was watching a lot of because Carnegie Hall like has like a YouTube video like link, and like you could watch like little things, and like they called her like Black Patty, but she would have like she would sing there a lot.
Yeah. I'm thinking we're probably talking about the same person. They also had the first children's concert there in 1891. So a lot of the time, these like prodigy violinists or musicians would perform there. The first jazz concert was in 1912. So before this was all strictly classical music. And then I think a really important performance is the 1938 Benny Goodman concert. It was the first seated jazz concert and one of the first multiracial jazz performances, which meant like both black and white performers were performing together on stage.
That's amazing.
At the same time. And then also MLK spoke there, 13 presidents spoke there, and there were a lot of women's suffrage campaigns that would occur in Carnegie Hall. This place is just getting better and better. It's on fire.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything after that, I don't know. What do I have after that? I have the Beatles perform there in 1964.
Frank Sinatra performed there. A lot of people performed there.
Yeah.
If you think like a famous person, they performed there.
Yeah. And then also, I don't think we got into like the full logistics. I think a lot of the time when you think of Carnegie Hall, you think of Isaac Stern Auditorium, which seats around 2,800 people. There's also two other spaces in Carnegie Hall. There's Zankel Hall, which seats 599 people. Our tour guide was very upset
about the 599. She brought it up maybe 4 or 5 times. She's like, why couldn't they just make it 600? And then we went to the hall, and she's like, you could put a seat right here, make it 600. She was so upset about the number 599.
Not the impersonation. They really could have just added one more.
They really could have just added one more.
You know? they want my 2 cents. That's what it is. And I'll say it 8 times. Yeah.
But for this hall, this was redone in 2003 to make it more in a more adaptable arena. And the seats can come up. You can put a stage in the middle, and make the seats around it. Like, it's very transformable. And there's all like a whole like lighting display on the ceiling, so like you could do really crazy stuff with the lights. It was a cool hall. But you also can hear the train going by.
Yes, you do see a shaking train.
Because it is underground. I don't think we mentioned that, but it is under the Carnegie Hall.
Yeah. So I actually saw a performance there. The band Blue October. My mother-in-law loves them. And
is that? I didn't know that's what you.
Yes, okay. And then Justin. I can't get his last name right now. I can't pronounce it. But he's the main singer of Blue October, and he was doing this one-man show where it was a mix of acting and kind of dialogue as well as singing. So he would tell a little story, and then he'd sing a song that connected to it or whatever. It was good. He did a good job, and I think it was a cool place to see a space. Yeah. But there were times though where a sad moment would happen, and it's it pulled you out a little bit. What are you gonna do? But I think there's some interesting history behind this specific Zankel Hall and its transformation. So when they first built it in the beginning, it was 100% Carnegie Halls. Then it got rented out to an off-Broadway company. Then it became a theater art movie house type of place.
Oh, yeah.
And in 1970, they actually presented porno films there for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard that.
I still, to this day, will never understand. I understand it had to be done in this certain time in history because people didn't have the internet or whatever. This idea of going to a dirty movie and
I don't know.
Knowing people.
You're asking the wrong person. I don't know.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
People knowingly are in public discreetly hiding whatever they're doing while they're watching. This is, I think.
Yeah, that's weird. It's weird.
What a weird time.
Weird time to be alive. But you know what Sorry,
and then to your point, it became theirs again, and it is what it is now.
Yeah, but when Isaac Stern was vouching for it not to be demolished, how it got saved was the city of New York purchased Carnegie Hall, and it began to be run by a nonprofit organization called the Carnegie Hall Corporation, which still runs it to this day.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious as to that. Renting it out to maybe they rented out the hall. I don't get how it changed. It changed hands if it was all under this nonprofit.
So just because a nonprofit could do whatever it wants still, it could just say that leasing, part of this building we want to lease this out, and the money goes to our nonprofit to run the rest. But now it's no longer leased out, and it's purely it's part of the 50c3. It's part of the whole thing, the whole operation. And then there's one more recital hall. It's called the Wheel Recital Hall. Super small, 268 seats. So they
very intimate recital hall.
Yeah, they got something for everybody.
Yeah. They did a more recent renovation in 2014 where they spent it was a $230 million renovation, and a lot of it had to do with, I think the lobby, the tour guide said this, a lobby got changed, but more importantly, all the studios, that tower that we said that people were having studios and living in, that's all now workspaces and educational programs. So they redid pretty much all of those floors of the tower.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I think it goes without saying, we went on a tour of
Carnegie Hall. Let's talk about our tour.
Yeah, we went on a tour of Carnegie Hall. We didn't see a performance, but I'm actually very, very encouraged now, and I really do want to see a performance there. And then we also went to Frank Sinatra Night, which is run by Carnegie Hall as well, right?
Okay. I've never been inside a Carnegie Hall, so going on this tour was really. How much was it? If you want to tell the people,
it was marketed as $25, but when I paid Apple Pay, it charged $30 each.
Oh, probably because of the little fees that they charge you.
Yeah, I think you could buy in person.
Yeah, you probably can.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people there.
So many people.
We went on a random Friday afternoon at 12:30, and there was a lot of people there.
Yeah, and it was funny because
we were with two Scottish people, so our tour guide loved that.
She was like, "Oh, we're so lucky to be with two Scottish people," but we were probably the only New Yorkers there.
Yes, yeah, 1,000%. And then so when we first went into Stern Auditorium, I was kind of blown away. Like, I was like, wow, this is, like, really, really cool. And they take you through the auditorium. They take you to the balcony seating. Like, it was a very, very educational tour. And you could tell our tour guide was...
she was very passionate.
She was very passionate.
You could tell she really loved it. She volunteers
for it. So there was this funny moment where we're talking, like, oh, somebody asked her if she got paid for it. I don't think it was us. Somebody else did.
Someone brought up the idea of, like...
do you get paid for this or whatever? And she's like, no, you know what? That would diminish it for me. Like, I don't need to get paid for that. She's like, what would that give me? And I was like, money. Like,
she goes, things get so messy when you get paid, right? And I'm like, not really, but hey, listen.
She's doing
whatever works for you.
Yeah.
But I thought it was so cool because when, like you were saying, we go onto, like, the orchestra level. We also get to go and, like, hang out in a box seat. When we walk in on the orchestra level, there was a guy tuning the piano, which I just thought was cool because it's, like, it's showing that this is a working machine. Yeah, it's not, like, you know, it's not a museum. It's, like, a functioning thing. And at one point, to prove the acoustics were so great, she was like, we're just going to be quiet for a second. We're going to see if we can hear the tour guide up on the balcony. Because there was
another tour. Like, there was multiple tours going on at, like, the 12:30 period.
Yeah.
And there was a tour on the balcony. You could hear the guy very clearly.
Yeah. And I thought it was cool. We were able to go into the box, and we saw that.
Yeah. It was really cool. I mean, I highly recommend it. But to your point, we also booked this thing... not related to the Carnegie Hall.
Oh, wait, can we say how I was, like, getting all the quiz questions right on the tour?
Yeah, you were. Is that what you wanted to say?
I guess that's it, yeah.
That's it, okay.
No, she gave 2 quiz questions. The first quiz question was that, what composer do you think they booked to open the show? And someone said Stravinsky, and she's like, not Stravinsky. And I was like, Tchaikovsky? And she's like, yeah, that's correct. And then she asked later on when we were on the balcony, she was like, so I have 2 clues for this next question. What do you think put Carnegie Hall's life in jeopardy? And she was like, the first one was Robert Moses. So me and you were like, oh, not that guy. Mm-hmm. And she goes, the second clue is West Side Story. And I was like, oh, it's Lincoln Center. Because, you know, we learned this stuff on our podcast.
I was going to say, it helps that we do history on everything.
Yeah, if we didn't get it right, I'd be like, damn, we're like really messing up. Yeah. But one last thing, and this brings up right before we talk about Frank Sinatra night, there's a museum in Carnegie Hall. It's called the Rose Museum.
We're going to call it a room. A room museum. It's one room, and you go around and see...
Yes, but they like to call it
paraphernalia.
Yeah, like a bunch of tchotchkes, basically. Yeah. Guess, though, how many tchotchkes, how many items do they have there?
I don't know.
You're going to be shocked.
450.
400, you got it.
Oh, look at that. 50 off. Yeah. They have, like, a ticket stubs, and one of the tickets was for Frank Sinatra, and it was $50, so this is a good segue into this.
Yeah, perfect.
I saw on Instagram, it was called, like, Frank Sinatra Night.
This was your mission. And it's,
like, this band, and they perform at this place called Carnegie Club, but you have to book it 2 months in advance, and you have to book it at, like, 2 p.m. on, you know, like,
you get on the queue.
And you have to, it's like Ticketmaster, right. You know, but, like, to get a reservation on, like, open table.
And it's a hot ticket because it's so small and intimate.
So 2 weeks in a row, I didn't get it. 2 weeks.
She was on a mission.
Third week, I'm like,
time's a charm.
I did it. I got us four tickets to go see Frank Sinatra Night. So they perform at the Carnegie Club. We went there last week.
And it's just like this little... It's a cigar lounge right across the street from the main... You know, the main concert hall and the main...
I was going to do research on it, but I forgot. Like, I ran out of time. But Carnegie Club, Frank Sinatra Saturday, book your ticket 2 months in advance. So they do, like, walk-ins, but they say, in, like, if people, like, don't show up and stuff. But, I mean, if you want to know that you're getting your spot, it was
getting in advance,
so
yeah.
The guy was so good.
I would also recommend getting I feel like there's better seat options for right?
Yeah, so I was saying how the ticket at Carnegie Hall for Frank Sinatra back in, like, the 50s was $50. So, like, that's a lot of money back then, you know? Yeah. We paid $50 for Frank Sinatra.
To see the Fugazi Sinatra.
He was so good, though.
He was really good.
But $50 was, like, obstructed view, which was, like, the balcony, which you could see him walking around. But if you wanted, like, seats below, they were $75. And I would have paid that if I was too nervous at the time of the booking, so I just pressed whatever I needed. But I would go again and do 70.
Yeah, I would go again too. And, you know, to say obstructed view, it is a very obstructed view. Like there's a massive pole in the middle of the room.
You have to stand up to see them.
Yeah, and like they do have like TVs, but it's kind of silly to like not be able to see the live performer.
The TV is not like broadcasting. Like they don't have different angles. It's one angle and it's just staring. It's like the worst. View. It's the worst angle. It's like your dad's security camera of your house. Like it's just
like you kind of feel like a creeper looking at it. Like should I be looking at this? But just going back to the singer who, like you said, was phenomenal. He did such a great job. And you know what I really did like in the beginning of the show is one of the first things he said was like, I am not a Frank Sinatra impersonator. Like this is not one of those hokey shows. Like this is our way of just paying homage to a tribute band. Like we are a tribute band is what he said. And it kind of made it nicer because you couldn't be like, nah, he didn't really sound like Frank. Like he wasn't trying to. Oh, Blue Eyes, or what did they call him? Something Blue Eyes.
Yeah.
But it was cute. It was cute. I mean, this cigar. How did you feel about being indoors and smoking being allowed?
I was like, what is this? The 70s? Well, or the 90s? Right? People smoke cigarettes.
What is this? 2002.
It is, if you have a
allergy or
asthma, or if you're sensitive to smoke, you probably shouldn't go.
Yeah. Just don't go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I had so much fun. I think it was a cool intimate setting. You got your little cocktails and you like a nice fun night out on the town doing something different.
Yeah, I think a perfect day would be a Carnegie tour in the morning to the hall, go get some food, and then do Frank Sinatra Saturday, 5 p.m. Yeah, perfect day.
Wow, look at a perfect day. You really do like Andrew Carnegie, don't you?
Yeah,
you got a little crush.
I got a little crush. Okay?
Oh, Mrs., you got
he's kind of cute. You know, he kind of looks a little bit like the Monopoly man.
Something about that Monopoly man really just gets me excited.
Yeah.
Yes, awesome. Okay. Well, thank you for listening. And go see live art.
Yeah, the live art. Yeah.
Go see live art. Is that what we're calling
live art? Yeah.
Live art. Do it.
Okay.
Do it.
Bye.